Hello, my subscribers. So a little change of pace from the usual videos. Have to rest my foot, but anyway, to my left is my Pulp Fiction poster, as I've shared on social media. Anyway, gonna do my analysis of the film after reading the script and rewatching it again. And thanks to my printer being a hunk of junk, gotta have to look at my laptop for the script I made, so gotta do what I gotta do. Anyway, without further ado, my Pulp Fiction analysis. So yeah, if I haven't made it clear enough, I'm a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino, his movies, personality, kind of how he just does what he wants in his films, and really doesn't care what any critics say, especially that interview during Kill Bill when he's all like, "Because it's so much fun, Jan!" Oh, one of my favorite Tarantino moments, but yeah, anyway. And he also just has a huge passion for cinema, which you can tell translates in almost all of his movies, especially movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and this one, Pulp Fiction. But to focus on that, let's just say I've loved just about every movie he's made. Isn't really one that I dislike. There are just some that I like less than others. But yeah, I guess I'll say it. This movie is hard to place in a genre. It's so many different things. It's a bit of a crime film. It's a bit of a comedy, dark comedy at that. A little bit of drama, and there's so many other things. But yeah, overall, pretty solid film. And definitely loved it on my initial thoughts after watching it the first time. Just so many of the oddball jokes. Also loved how the movie is not in linear order, and I guess a good chunk of the fun of the movie is watching it so many times and figuring out how the movie goes in chronological order, because the actual official ending is actually about, I think, in Act 2 actually, and the ending we get actually takes place a lot earlier in Act 1, so it's definitely fun to piece all that together, because seems like Tarantino also, when I was reading the script, he must have wrote the script in one way and the movie was edited in a different way, because that's another thing too I've noticed. So I guess let's go ahead and get on into the big aspect that most people love, and I do too, the cast. Yeah, for all the most popular characters, whether a huge role, like about medium-sized or just small, just about everyone does a great job, and especially the leads. They are giving some of the best works of their career, whether it's who's on the poster that you just saw, Uma Thurman, probably one of her best career performances as Mia Wallace, and Vincent Vega, played by John Travolta, doing a really great job, just matching his kind of professional yet laid-back attitude and Jules and his energy that Sam Jackson only he can bring, and all the times he says motherfucker, and I'm gonna say that right there. I'm probably gonna say some direct quotes from the movie, so if you don't want to hear me say motherfucker or anything like that, then this ain't the video for you, because I'm not gonna sanitize myself. Tarantino wouldn't want it, so I ain't gonna do it. And anyway, let's go ahead and I guess besides that, shoot, I've listened to countless interviews of Tarantino on how he directed the movie and so many of the iconic scenes, especially the dance scene, and kind of like how he didn't want it to be all professional looking and extensively choreographed, and I guess that's why I really connect with that dance scene to the song You Never Can Tell. And also the way the movie starts up with, I believe the name of the song is Miserlou. Could be mispronouncing it, but it's the song that starts the movie off when you see the title. It's even a reference to it in Space Jam that I really liked. But yeah. And also too, the editing also kind of does a good job of also showing when you're done with one particular segment, because just about every story segment are just little separate vignettes. And yeah, guess let's go ahead and move on to my views on the structure. So yeah, it's quite tempting to want to figure out the movie in chronological order and put it all together, but then again, part of me is like, I don't know if I ever really want to, because I think that might just ruin the fun. So yeah, I guess who knows, we'll see on that, but that's also what I really love. And Freaking definitely really like how though there are little title cards like the one about the Bonnie situation and Jules and Vincent, so definitely a nice job, and the transitions between them are real nice, and it definitely adds to the rewatchability of this film. You pick up on so many things. The way this movie is written is kind of like Clerks and some other popular movies that were written this way around the time, where there is so much in it that you'll pick up more and more upon more viewings. So yeah, I really definitely enjoyed that aspect of the story. So yeah, anyway, gotta say the soundtrack's really great because there isn't an orchestral score in this movie. It's just a lot of just pop songs that Quentin Tarantino puts in, or I've noticed there's a lot of surf rock songs that are in here also. That's the main style that the movie is going for. And yeah, guess that's all I gotta say on that. So I guess I'll just go ahead and move on into the character introductions and discuss my brief thoughts and a brief summary on them. And I think I'm gonna chunk them from the leads who get the most screen time to about middle of the road with their screen time to the ones that kind of just appear in one scene and are done. So let's go ahead and start off with the main, I guess let's call them, not really a trio, let's call them the main quartet. There, that's the word I was looking for, quartet. That is Vince Vega, Jules, Mia Wallace, and Butch Coolidge. So here they are. So yeah, anyway, frickin' Vince Vega, played by John Travolta, he kind of just has the ultimate kind of, he's professional yet laid back attitude as a hitman, and definitely has an interesting task bestowed upon him where he has to go take out Mia Wallace because I guess Marcellus didn't want her to be lonely or something like that. So yeah, definitely one of the more interesting aspects. It's like, wow, he goes out of town and he completely trusts another single guy to not try any funny business. I guess that's just the loyalty that Vincent has with Marcellus Wallace. So I guess that's kind of one of those things you just got to put together upon multiple rewatches that I've noticed. And Jules is the professional one who definitely likes to go in, get the ground rolling, and you can just tell from the introductory scene with him and Vincent that their chemistry is just wonderful, and John Travolta and Sam Jackson, they definitely play off each other real well. Probably helped by the pretty fucking badass dialogue of Quentin Tarantino. I can't really do justice on it. You kind of just gotta watch the movie, but it's just so clear and concise, yet still has Tarantino's flavor to it. Especially the Bible quote on Ezekiel that Jules likes to quote a lot. And frickin', oh gosh, frickin' that was on the tombstone of Nick Fury in Captain America Civil War, which is just another nice little detail, because Tarantino isn't like Scorsese or some of these other directors who think it's cool to just crap on the MCU. So another reason why I love Tarantino, he doesn't partake in these stupid ass witch hunts that Martin Scorsese is partaking in. So yeah, anyway, I just really freaking love his chemistry, and the most prominent female character in this movie is definitely Mia Wallace, played by Uma Thurman, and she's the wife of Marcellus, and kind of has her own little edge. She starred in a TV pilot, which her and Vincent talk about, and John Travolta and her definitely have some great chemistry that helps carry those scenes. And just overall, even though she isn't definitely in the movie for a huge chunk, for when she's in there, she's pretty badass. She definitely deserved her Oscar nomination. I love the character. So I guess for the last of the main quartet is Butch Coolidge, played by Bruce Willis, who is a boxer who just made a deal with Marcellus Wallace. He's a mobster who I'll get into here in a few minutes, and he has to take the fall in a fight, and he's going to pay him a crap ton of money, but he's with an interesting dilemma where he kind of wants to stick true to his integrity and whatnot. And also, I guess it's been long enough. Let's just say his father's watch has a very interesting story that I'll get into when I get into Christopher Walken's cameo in this movie. And let's just say where that watch has been, which is a very interesting story. And I mean, I like all the watches I have, but I don't know if I'm willing to do what what Butch's dad or or anyone else, or shoot, even Butch is willing to do with them. So yeah. Anyway, this is definitely one of Bruce Willis's best career performances, next to John McClane and many more. So let's go ahead and get on to the characters that have about a medium size of screen time and onward. So here they are. Alright, gonna go a little bit different from the way I wrote it in the script, because I just realized I kind of wrote these characters and their screen time a little bit different from the way I wanted to talk about it. But anyway, up next is Ving Rhames' character of Marcellus Wallace, who he's the main mob boss in Los Angeles, who's setting up Vince to have this big payday. But Vince, as I said, not Vince, Butch, gosh dang, I guess I've watched this movie so many times, sometimes I confuse the character names. Anyway, he has a very interesting conflict with Butch, and guess I'll just say Butch doesn't take the fall and Marcellus wants him dead, and Vince isn't too happy with Butch either. They actually never got along, which I kind of like. When you watch the movie and you see the scene of Vince and Butch, you can kind of just tell when they look at each other, they hate each other's guts, and very few words need to be said, and it's like, wow, you can tell those two aren't going to get along. And it's also revealed that Butch was the one who keyed Vincent's car, and there's a whole scene where Vince is ranting to his drug dealer, darn it, I forgot the name, but is played by Eric Stoltz. And, oh gosh, just it's just so funny hearing him talk, and also, how Butch ends up killing him in the end because of how Vince, with his drugs, it kind of constipated him, because I think Tarantino revealed that's why Vincent's always going to the bathroom. Because one other key indicator I forgot to mention, anytime Vincent goes to the bathroom, that's usually when the big climactic events take place throughout the movie, so yeah. And one of them, he goes to the bathroom, Butch walks in, sees him with his silenced MAC-10. Next thing we know, boom, boom, boom. That's the last we've heard of Vincent Vega. And as far as the Pop-Tart Pops that Butch was making, oh shit. Oh, another reason why I love the directing in this movie. So many nice little details. It's the little extra things that Tarantino does to make his movies truly special. Whether it's this one, or Django, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you can always trust that that's what he'll be doing. So then up next is Tim Roth and his girlfriend Yolanda, who hold up the store that is being robbed at the beginning of the movie. And it's just so nice how they're all talking about it's easy to rob a restaurant, and just how Yolanda just completely changes, and she's all like, if any of you fucking pricks move, I'm gonna execute every last motherfucking one of you. Oh gosh, I just absolutely love that. And Tim Roth was also the cop in Reservoir Dogs. I'm not spoiling anything, the movie's almost 30 years old. If you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs, not my problem. But yeah, he's the undercover cop in Reservoir Dogs. And guess that's all my thoughts on them and their place in the story. So yeah. Oh, it's Lance. That's the name of the drug dealer. Lance and Jody are the husband and wife drug dealers who deal to Vincent. And there's a scene where Mia overdoses, and Vincent's freaking out because he's like, oh fuck, I'm fucking dead. If Marcellus sees her dead, my ass is grass. So he drives over to his house, wrecks his car, and has to do an adrenaline shot, give it to Mia. And oh my gosh, just such a great scene. And also it's so nice too when Mia does get revived. She's all like, ah, and all freaking getting all fired up. And then Lance is all like, could you please say something if you're all right? And she's like, something. But yeah, oh gosh, I just fucking love that scene. And I guess the last of these characters I gotta talk about is Captain Coons. He's the general who was the one who saw Butch's dad, and let's just say they were in Nam, and it's a family legacy, this little golden pocket watch that's been around since World War I. And I guess because he didn't want to lose it, his granddad stuck it up his ass to make sure it wouldn't get lost, and Butch's dad did the same thing. But this time, Butch had no such luck. He trusted his girlfriend to do it with the whole dilemma, Fabienne, or however you say her name. Anyway, she frickin' botches it, and Butch has to go get it, which causes the whole thing I was describing about Butch killing Vincent, and also the further on, pawn shop scene. I don't think I want to say anything more because that is just a really interesting scene. I'm just gonna call it the pawn shop scene because it is just just one of the best standout moments in the film. So anyway, here's a few of my other thoughts on some other stuff in the movie, and yeah. So anyway, here are those characters. Well, I noticed I did kind of already cover some of my favorite scenes. So I already covered that part of the script. Guess I'll discuss why I feel like this movie has had such longevity and what makes it work. And as I've already said from before, the comedy, the characters, how it blends various genres. They all have a lot of good arcs too, because Jules, after seeing Marvin in another scene, which I guess I'll say what happens. Marvin gets shot. He's one of these gangbangers that Vincent and Jules go to execute to get the briefcase, because that's the other aspect too I like about the story in this movie. There's a briefcase, but it's a MacGuffin. It doesn't really matter to the plot, and what's inside it is whatever you want it to be. Tarantino, I think, initially said he wanted it to be the diamonds from Reservoir Dogs, but then changed his mind, and he decided to make it that it's whatever the viewer wants it to be. Now, some say because the combination is 666 that it's Marcellus Wallace's soul. I don't really buy that, because Bing Rames' scar he has on the back of his neck was just an accident that he had when he was cutting the hair on the back of his neck. And then others say it's gold. I used to believe that theory, but now that I think about it, that briefcase would be heavy as hell if Vincent and Jules were walking around with it and it had gold. So whatever's inside of it has a gold-like aura. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff I've been speculating on, and I think I'm just gonna go leave it up to you to speculate on too, because it's anything, and I don't think Tarantino's ever gonna reveal the definitive answer. It's almost like the ending to Inception. We're probably never gonna know, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, as I've said too, these details make this movie very rewatchable on subsequent rewatches. The pacing's really great too. This movie is about 2.5 hours long, yet it feels like an hour and a half long. Like, the pacing is really great. It's almost like other long movies like I've watched of late, like Spider-Man No Way Home, and shoot, even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Avengers Endgame. They're all on the longer side, but the pacing so well, it doesn't really feel that way. So I guess I'll go ahead and discuss the impact of this movie, and then after that it should just be my closing thoughts. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, on to the impact of this movie. It's definitely helped me out as a creator, the big thing being script writing. Seeing the way Tarantino wrote the script, the dialogue, I actually, after reading it, let's just say that it's really helped out my writing in tons of ways, and I can see why this movie has just been beloved by just about everyone, from casual audiences to critics to filmmakers themselves. Because Tarantino, in a way, with this movie, he kind of follows the rules of traditional moviegoing with the 3 acts and everything we expect in an ordinary movie. Yet at the same time, he breaks a lot of rules with the shuffling of the story, the violence, and kind of just the way some things play out, and also the whole briefcase MacGuffin. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's what the MacGuffin is. It's usually an object in a story that has no relevance to the plot, though sometimes directors do kind of make it a little more relevant, like R2-D2 with the Death Star plans in Star Wars. I don't know, I've kind of lost favor using that term. Some have tried calling the Infinity Stones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a MacGuffin, but they actually do matter to the plot. Not to mention, the Avengers have actually had to, do shit to obtain them, and we know what they are, and we know what abilities they have, so not really a MacGuffin. At least I don't think it fits the traditional definition of a MacGuffin. Anyway, yeah, this script is just wonderful from all aspects. The structure of it as well, how the fun of it is kind of going back, figuring out where everything fits into place. You also notice a lot of details. I think that was definitely one thing Tarantino put in this movie. Like, you notice certain characters in certain shots, or you also just notice that there are certain things due to the non-linear narrative of the film that come into play later. But yeah, that's why I believe this movie is going to be cherished for years. Just the way Tarantino wrote it, directed it, the cast being at the top of their game. it's not just going to be marked as one of the best landmark films of the 1990s, but I feel like cinema overall for decades to come is definitely going to have it, because there are lots of movies that I feel like they're just imitators. There's definitely some imitators that have tried to come along. I'm kind of having a hard time thinking of too many. Some have come close. I'll admit Wolf of Wall Street, very similar. Really well-paced movie, even though it's long as hell, but doesn't feel that way. Kind of similar dialogue, and also the other thing too, I guess, that kind of breaks the rules of this movie is almost all the characters in these movies are scum. They're criminals, or if they are, they're anti-heroes like Butch, where they kind of bend the rules, or not the rules, their own morality to whatever the situation is. So, yeah. But seeing them redeem themselves is another great aspect too, like with Jules and the way his arc progresses, where he kind of has had it with the violent mafia lifestyle and gets out of it. And along with Butch and various others. So that's just a testament to what Tarantino wrote, directed, and the cast just being at the top of their game. So yeah, that's why I believe this movie will be cherished for decades to come. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood definitely came close, but I hate to say it, it still definitely didn't have the awesome rewatchability of the non-linear narrative, because the movie does have flashbacks, but I don't know, it doesn't really, from a structural standpoint, make it more intriguing to go back and watch again, because it's not like it's out of order. The movie does go in order, it just kind of deviates at certain points because it has flashbacks, like most Tarantino movies, except for Death Proof. But, yeah, it just came out just at the perfect time in the 90s also, and Tarantino just proved why he's a force to be reckoned with. And I definitely hope if he does stick by what he said about making 10 movies, that he really delivers with one that either matches or exceeds this movie. He came pretty fucking close with not Pulp Fiction, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'll admit, but yeah. Anyway, I gotta say, that's definitely impacted Tarantino's other films. Jackie Brown even had one line of dialogue that was also said by Sam Jackson yet again, when he's all like, "This is some fucked up, repugnant shit." And just various others in the dialogue. I mean, shoot, Uma Thurman was in the Kill Bill movies. And Inglourious Basterds was a movie I think Tarantino was beginning to formulate around this time, because it definitely has elements of the dark humor and dialogue. And I think Sam Jackson kind of set the precedent for what would become of Jamie Foxx as Django in Django Unchained. And gotta say it now, I think Jamie Foxx was perfect for Django. I'm kind of glad Will Smith didn't end up playing the role. As much as I love Will Smith, I think I prefer Jamie Foxx more. So anyway, I guess those are my closing thoughts. This movie is just wonderful. I hope some of what I said here is different from what other critics have said, because I feel like almost everything's been said. Just want to add my own take on it. Anyway, if you like more videos like this, go ahead and comment if you want any more or like the video. So let me know if you want to see me do more analyses of some of my favorite films, or just any film. They don't have to be older, they could be new too. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and peace.